Welcome to the Titan Leader Chat. Tonight we have an awesome episode prepared for everyone. We have Ashton Washington, who is currently the high school operations director for the University of Illinois. Kind of stepped into this role, got national coverage in the last couple months or so. Very young woman growing in the athletic industry, which is amazing to see, and I cannot wait for our conversation. How are you doing today?
I'm good, and I got one thing, just a little alternate change. So title, Director of High School Relations. So no one gets on my case.
Yeah, exactly. I know what that's like. You got to make sure you get it exactly right. So, I don't even know where to start. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you, and especially you being my age. I think it's amazing to have young women starting in athletics, especially in college football. This is a huge deal to have a female working in college athletics. When you talk about your journey, can you hit a little bit on what it was like to enter those roles, not only as somebody being so young, but as a female, kind of being able to take that leadership role? Because I know a lot of the people that listen to our Titan Talks and that we get the chance to work with, I work with a lot of young women my age that are coming out of college. And how did you start navigating all of that from a leadership perspective and getting yourself ready to keep moving forward?
Okay, so I will say one thing. So I went to Houston-Tillotson University, and our university, or my university, does not have a football team, right? But I didn't let that stop me. So just getting connected with different high school coaches, 7-on-7 coaches, different trainers just around Houston and the Austin area, Dallas included, was just me getting out. Like I said before, I was using the name Rivals in 24/7, and I was getting out to different events. And people were looking on the field you got to remember, I'm the only woman that's walking on the field. And I was probably 19, 20, walking around thinking I'm 35. So for me, it was just, I'm in my head, I'm supposed to be here. This is what I'm supposed to do. And you just got to walk it, talk it, network, meet people. I like to say social media is key, but it's even bigger when you get out and you meet people face to face. I will say right now, it might be a little hard to do that. So my advice to just that overall is getting on Zoom calls. I know a lot of different high school coaches, college coaches, just even athletic administration. They're doing Zoom calls for, young people like ourselves that want to get involved or want to learn or want to get into the business somehow. So that's a good way to network just right now in these circumstances, because once again, everybody's home, right? Some are in the office, but mostly everyone is home. And so this is kind of a good time just to get yourself out there.
Yeah, and I love what you said there. I knew I was supposed to be there. I rowed in college, and one of the things that we kind of always talked about is when you finish your rowing career, everyone asks you, how'd you do it? And it was I never thought I couldn't do it. I was doing exactly what I was supposed to do. And so I love that. For you, what's the end goal? Where's the next move? Because I can imagine you're not the type of person to stay in one spot. Are you going to be a head coach? What's the next moves?
So right now, my thoughts and progress, is mostly focused just on this big role, Director of High School Relations, focused on Illinois football, focused on what Coach Smith wants us to do as a staff. When I had my interview with him, it was a one-on-one Zoom call again, but it was pretty much, he kind of reiterated what he's trying to do with Illinois football and what he's trying to enhance and bring me in to bring even more innovations to the program. So that's just my main focus right now. I know it sounds bad that I haven't thought past that, but you know what I mean? Just coming into a role like this, again, I'm in the Big Ten. Only woman to hold this position in the Big Ten. So this is a pretty big deal for myself. So like I said, that's just my main focus right now. But if something, comes out of it, we'll see. But main focus is Illinois.
Awesome. Well, on the note of Illinois, you guys have kind of a mantra of join the fight. What does that mean for you guys from a leadership perspective? Is that something you train into all the players and things like that? What's that mean?
So for me personally, no one on the coaching staff has, kind of been like, hey, Ash, this is what join the fight means. Stick that to your head and just run with it. So for me, join the fight personally is I'm joining the fight of Illinois football, right? I'm not on the field playing, but I'm in the background helping you get even more players in this program. So that's part of mine of joining the fight. One thing I will say is I'm up all night. I'm up early in the morning, and that is part of that fight. That's a program. One thing I will say, to my staff or our staff, our team, is that we all work so hard. And this is my second week working with everybody, and this is through Zoom calls, through meetings each week, each day. And I like to say that this staff is amazing. One of my things was when I left the XFL, I said, I would love to be with another staff, just how I had the staff at XFL. So everyone, not just myself, was given 110%. So I'm like, I want to be around people that do the same if my next job, if given the opportunity. And I will say one thing, I'm a religious person, and God, he did really, really good on this one, because everyone on staff, it doesn't matter if you're a graduate assistant, everyone on staff is like 110%, all in Illinois football, join the fight, Liddyville, like all of it. So that's the biggest part for me, the biggest element.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, like, kind of going off of that, I know you've been in the XFL, you've kind of stepped into this college role. Do you see a big difference between kind of the mindset and mantra of everyone around you?
So I will say college football, recruiting, just having that aspect of it, it's on go, right? XFL, it's more of like a split role. It's a professional deal. So it's more corporate as far as business side, and it's more of the coaching personnel and players on this side. But college football is all in one. Everyone's together. We're all working together, right? So on our calls, it's Coach Lovie Smith, head coach, and it follows on. So after that. So I think for me, I don't ever see myself leaving college football. I don't know if that's crazy to say, but I love it. Second week on the job, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is a dream come true.
That's awesome. And I completely understand. I love the college environment. Like, when you're around working with college coaches, working with anybody at that level, there's just like a type of mindset that you're always around, a type of leadership and this elite person that you're always working with, which I absolutely love. And kind of on that, what's it like to be a leader in the role that you're in? And like, what kind of leadership skills are you using, and do you see your staff using, as well as Coach Smith and things like that?
So with that, the leadership skill that I'm using most out of anything is just making sure everyone feels included. So I like to say I'm the new kid on the block, right? So I can't really go in and be like, this needs to change. You need to fix this. I don't like that. I do like this, but let's keep it how it is. So I can't really go in like that. So it's more of just making sure everyone feels included, making sure everybody is connected and they understand, like, this is a team effort. We're all in this together. We don't wake up at 5 a.m. to recruit kids and to create documents and different virtual tours and things like that for no reason. We're all in this together. And I think, that's something that goes back to our own leadership, which is Coach Lovie Smith or Coach Smith. That goes back to him. He's a great leader. For me, he's honestly like a second dad, right? It's like he's just become a mentor for me in just a matter of 2 weeks. And from that interview that I first had with him, and that's just a good relationship that I've had with him. He's very down to earth, which, makes you want to fight harder for him. And so that's one of the things that's kind of reiterated across the staff. Everyone wants to fight hard. Again, join the fight. They want to fight for Coach Smith and for our team, for our guys. Look, the most important piece, our guys.
Exactly. When you're recruiting those guys, what do you look for? Like, when you're trying to find somebody that fits into University of Illinois coach, or somebody who's going to join the fight, someone who has the skills, like, what are you guys looking for?
You just answered it right there. You're looking for somebody that fits into Illinois football. It fits into our Liddyville culture, right? You want someone with good morals, someone with good conduct, someone that I don't have to chase to get to class, because Illinois is the 5th best look, I'm bringing in numbers now, is the 5th best public school in the nation. So, right, you're leaving with a top tier degree. I can't have someone in there that's not taking care of their academics, because that's the whole key of student athlete, or the whole key of Illinois football. There would be no Illinois football without academics. So that's someone that we're looking for. And then of course, we're looking at, just being athletic. Do you fit into the culture or the scheme of play that we're running at Illinois? Do you have what it takes to be a Division I player in the Big Ten? I like to say, don't forget Illinois football is in the Big Ten. That's a powerhouse conference, right? So that's something that, you got to take hold of and understand. But those are kind of just the key elements. And then, if I have a player sent to me, or if I see a player, first thing I'll do is send it to my right-hand man, which is my director of recruiting, Patrick Embleton. I'll send it to him, like, hey, Pat, I got this, check this out. And then if from there we move it, either I move it or he moves it to the position coach. And the position coach, checks the kid out, breaks him down, says what he likes, what he doesn't like, what needs to be fixed. And, if needed, I'll reiterate that to the kid and be like, hey, just kind of go back on this. Or I'll reiterate to the high school coach that sent it to me. So look, that goes into play with that high school relations part.
How would you describe Illinois football? Like, if a high school coach was going to call you and you're like, we need this kid to come and this is why, what are you going to tell him?
Woo! First off, can't be biased, but, I got to say it. We are the best. I have to, I got to just straight up say we are the best. But I will say I would definitely bring up that academics part about, the 5th best public school in the nation. Another thing is, our athletes will walk away with a job in hand after they leave Illinois. So a program that we have is an internship program, but that internship that they, worked at or did during their tenure at Illinois, if they're given the opportunity to play in the league, so play in the NFL or the CFL, and they finish their years doing that, they're able to get a job at the place that they interned at during college. So that's something, that's not really done across college football, but that's done in Illinois. So I hope that's a takeaway. And then, of course, our players are ready to welcome in new players. They're ready to see if they're ready to join the fight, if they have the heart and the effort and the willpower to go in those workouts with Coach Lou, which is our strength and conditioning coach, and just go at it. So, those would be my selling points. And then overall, I'm there. My staff, our staff is there. Like, that's just the winning piece. So, yeah, I got to understand, I'm not at other college programs, so I'm at Illinois. So why not come to Illinois?
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. You work with a lot of high school coaches. What do you look for in kind of like a high school program? Like, what do you want their culture to look like? Because obviously you don't want this big change and this huge difference. Like, you want a player that's going to be able to go right into your team culture and be able to work well with the athletes you already have there. So what do you look for in a high school program as a whole to pick out that one kid to come bring in?
Okay, I really like that question. Overall, you're looking at high school programs that kind of conduct their programs like a college program, right? Like a D1 program, D2, D3, NAI, it doesn't matter which level, but you want them to uphold their program like a college program. So you're holding them in meetings, doing film sessions, doing position groups, how we do it in college, right? So we have a big team meeting, and of course, everybody's going to break off into the position groups into their own separate rooms. So that's something that I'm looking at, or something that we're looking at, far as looking at different high schools and where we're, bringing from. And just how they uphold, again, it goes back to the academics. Look, everything I'm saying is going back to the same thing. It's just how strong that head coach or those position coaches push for academics, whether that's in their high school classes or whether that's SAT, ACT, things like that. So just different things like that. And that's kind of pretty visible, again, on social media. A lot of coaches, take pictures of their I don't want to say students, but their student athletes in their meetings and their film sessions. So it's very visible now.
Yeah, I can imagine. From your perspective, that'd be a huge thing just to kind of dive into pretty easily. And kind of to change the tone of the conversation or kind of switch to another topic, you have a brand called Consistent Always. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, yes, I do. Look, okay, keep going, okay.
So, let's talk about it. What is it? What are you doing with it? What's your goal?
Okay, so with that brand, I like to say that I don't even look for that brand to make revenue. It's sad to say, but it's true. I don't care if I make 99 cents. My moral of that whole brand is if you are not going to rock the brand name, which is consistent always, in your everyday life, do not purchase it. So I don't care if you like me, you know what I mean? Or you like what I'm doing, you think I'm cool or whatever, don't purchase it if you're not going to follow those morals or that daily reminder, as I said before. So with that, you know, a lot of people said, you know, why didn't you make merchandise and put your name on it or put your face on it? I'm like, no, because first off, I'm not going to walk around with my face on the t-shirt. That's just a no-go. So that was just a no for me. And I have a younger brother. Oh, I don't want to say younger brother, but he's my little big brother. He's 18. We're actually in the same conference. So he's going to Penn State. He signed to Penn State in December and he plays receiver, but just with him, with his recruiting process, kind of goes into play with the brand and with this position and different things like that, is that I've watched what he's done and he's very, very consistent, right? He's consistent every single day with his academics. He's consistent with his workout plan, with his eating regimen. I've never seen an 18-year-old so consistent with their day-to-day processes. So again, that brand is based off of me, but it's also based off of my brother and just based off the everyday person or the everyday athlete. So whether you're gardening, whether you're eating chips, it doesn't matter what you're doing, just stay consistent in what you're trying to do. So that's the main thing. Yeah. So Madison, with Titan Talk or Titan Leadership Talks, stay consistent.
Yeah, I like it. I love it. Like, I think it's an awesome concept.
Thank you.
If you're a high school athlete listening to this, how would you tell them to stay consistent? Like, what can they do? What traits do they need to kind of start to build up in their life to really be consistent?
Well, one, of course, no one should have to tell you when to go out and work out. You say you want to play college football, again, no matter what level you want to play at, no one should have to tell you when to go work out. No one should give you a to-do list like you need to do this, this, and this. And it kind of goes back to my brother. We have never given him a to-do list like, hey, Parker, his name's Parker. We've never tell Parker like, you know, you're going to play Division I football. You're going to go to Penn State. This is what you're going to do. You know what I mean? He kind of did his own thing. And so that should be the same moral behind any high school athlete, no matter if you're trying to play football, basketball, tennis, golf, no matter what it is. You should just understand that no one should have to tell you to do that. And if you love it, it comes easy. It comes natural, right? It just comes easy. Number two would be, I know most don't want to do this, but this is something that'll help you, is, you know, there's a lot of practice tests online for SAT, ACT. I know many states or many schools have waived it for the next couple years, but just having the knowledge of what's on those tests kind of help you and prepare you for some of your college courses, right? So just, you know, going through that, I know most athletes or most people are out here playing 2K, playing PS4, Xbox, you know what I mean? Let's be honest. So just kind of having that extra initiative and just trying to get on those and getting active with it. You know, what's easy is you can do it right here on your phone. So that's easy to do. Another thing would be, you know, just connecting with college coaches if you haven't. So if, you know, college coaches haven't reached out to you, this is the perfect time. I said it before, everybody's home, or mostly everyone's home. So just sending out personal emails. I will say one thing, most college coaches know when you've copied and pasted an email. So kind of change them up, put a little flavor into it. I like to say, put your personality into it. Send some film. The best highlight film that I could possibly say is kind of like a Twitter video. Send only 2 minutes and 20 seconds. In that first 30 seconds of that video, put your best highlights at the first 30 seconds. Me personally, when I watch film or when I'm looking at someone's film, I always turn the music off. So it really doesn't matter what tunes you got on there. I turn it off anyway, and I put on something I like to listen to. And if you flow, or, you know, if you're flowing with my music, I'm like, oh, okay. I'm rocking with it. I'm feeling it. But a last thing with that, just with that highlight film, no special effects. I know, you know, when you're about to slam into somebody or when you're going straight into the end zone or different things like that, most like to slow it down. But just no effects, no slowdowns. But one helpful thing, and I know Huddle does it too, is just kind of circling yourself out. If you're a quarterback, of course, don't circle yourself out. We know you're the quarterback. You know what I mean? We know where the quarterback is. So don't do that. But if you're in, you know, offensive linemen, different things like that, You're on defense, circle yourself, of course. But those are kind of just my main things of what needs to be done. And last but not least, I'm going to say it again. Work out. Please work out. Please get outside. Please work out inside. It doesn't matter where you are. Work out. No excuses.
From a recruiting standpoint, is it easy for you to tell if a kid has really good leadership skills, like from those films or from what they're telling you? And like, what are you kind of pulling out from that?
Just kind of, if it's a Zoom call, because again, we can't really meet them face to face, but you know, if you have manners, it's not necessarily saying yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, but just, you know, just being polite. Even if you're not interested in what I'm saying, just being polite, listening. I will say one thing, it kind of goes back to when Parker was on visits. I would take these opportunities to kind of see, you know, the back end and the front end of a recruiting visit or recruiting official visit. So even on junior days, you would see that some kids would be in line or some athletes would be in line, or, you know, a coach is talking or a graduate assistant is talking or the equipment manager is talking, head coach is talking, doesn't matter who it is. And they would be on their phones or they'd be looking over here, walking away, pointing at this, like what? And then you would see like 3 athletes standing there actually listening. And so you already know which 3 athletes that school is probably like, okay, I kind of like these 3. These other ones are just wandering off. So that would be the main focus, main key from that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, especially nowadays, like it's even more and more important to be so in the moment, zoned in, and like being prepared for what you're about to do. And kind of switching gears a little bit, what's it like to be a female leading in the athletic industry? We've kind of talked about it a little bit with your brand and with the things you've kind of been working on, but what is that really like? Like, you've kind of got national coverage over the past month or so. So I'm sure like this is completely new. You might have expected it to be coming, but I know the first time I heard your name, you were featured on Her Turf, which is like my go-to for athletic news. And when I saw that, I was like, I need to talk to her. Like, we need to get on a phone call. And so, like, what has all this been like?
It's been crazy. I will say that. I will say that when I took this position, I didn't know I was making history. And people are blown away when I say that. I'm like, I had no idea. Coach Smith, he never told me that. He just told me, Ashton, you're going to be assistant coach, director of high school relations. That's the title. This is what you'll be doing. You know what I mean? He never been like, you know, when you take this position, you're going to make history. You're going to be the first African-American. I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? I didn't know. So the way I found out was that I Googled, you know, just randomly Googled myself. Like, I'm not trying to be big-headed, but I was on the couch with my mom Tuesday night when everything went public. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Mom, I said, you know, I think I want to Google myself just to see what pops up. So I Googled myself and a Sports Illustrated article pops up. And it's like, Ashton Washington, first female, Illini. I'm like, wait, huh? And then I click it and I'm scrolling, and that's when I find out everything. And I'm just like, wow. And I looked at my mom and I'm like, what are we going to do? You know how I say we? I was like, what are we going to do? And it just went from there. Like I said, I don't think it's hit me yet that I have officially made history. That's really big coming out of my mouth. But like you said, I'm leading the sports industry or sports and college football for other women. So that's a big, I guess, huge position for me. Let's not say big, let's say huge position for me to do so. And for me, I don't want to just specifically single out this opportunity or this position just for African-American women, but it's for all women in sports, no matter what you're doing, whether you're in college football, whether you're in volleyball, track, it doesn't matter, whether you're in sports administration, this is for all women. And this kind of goes back to my favorite quote by Maya Angelou. She's a world legendary, famous poet. And her quote that she said was, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And that's me coming to Illinois. I'm coming as one, but I'm standing as 10,000. So that's with you included as well. So that we're all in this together. This is for all women across the globe. And I'm excited to uphold this. But that means, again, that I got to go 10 times harder than what I was going to come into in this position doing, right? So I was already going to come in 110% and ready to do it. But now it's like I got to come in 120, 130, just 10x come in and ready to work. And so that's just kind of how it is right now. But again, it hasn't hit me. When it hits me, I'll let you know. I promise I will.
All right, I like the sounds of that. Have you noticed a big difference in like your mindset or the way you're approaching things or anything like that? Just stepping into the college, the D1 college level, I guess, is really more the question.
So personally, nothing has changed just far as kind of what I'm doing. My mindset, it's kind of always just the same. What I told you before, when we were on that field with rivals at 1920, I'm supposed to be here. You know what I mean? I'm prepared. I'm ready. And it kind of goes back on a quote on February 4th that Coach Smith said to the media. And this is before anything with me had ever happened, you know, before I had spoken with him about anything. He made a comment that one day there will be a woman walking down the halls of Smith Hall or Smith Center in Illinois football. And, you know, I happen to be that woman. And he said, you know, if you're qualified, whether you're a staff member, whether you're a player, we will find you. And so here I am, Illinois football all the way, baby. Illini, here we go. I'm ready, 110, 120, 130. I'm all here, I'm all ready. And how you said, I love how you said, you know, you saw me on her turf and things like that. And I was willing to get on here with you. I called you, I was like, you know, let's do it. You know, let's get active. Let's go ahead and get this interview rocking and rolling. I'm ready.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I love the fact that I've read a little bit about Coach Smith and things like that, just in the past and preparing for this as well. And I think it's so important to take what he said for the fact that he's going to find the best person for the job, no matter who that person is. And
Right.
I think that allows so much exposure for women in athletics because of what we're trying to do. Like if you're going to step into this role, and I think that is absolutely amazing. And I loved everything you had to say. And, you know, the show up is one. And I think that is absolutely amazing. And as we close out here, what else do you have to say? Any closing thoughts? Anything you want to say to us?
Well, one, I'm going to say thank you so much for having me on this show. I've enjoyed everything you've asked me. I've enjoyed your personality. So thank you again. Two, make sure you guys, you know, if you're consistent, I'm going to say it again, if you're consistent, you know, get you some consistent always gear. Again, I'm not trying to make revenue, but just kind of send out a daily message for everyone. And then three, I'm going to leave you with a quote of my own, you know, a personal quote to me that's special, even more, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand with the Maya Angelou one, but it says, patience is when you're supposed to be mad, but you choose to understand. And I'm going to say it one more time. Patience is when you're supposed to be mad, but you choose to understand. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what's going on with the pandemic. So, you know, remember, I'm always here for questions, anything. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and that's at ASH3 Washington on all platforms. Again, ASH3 Washington. I like to say Washington like the state. So there you go.
Well, Ashton, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone listening, make sure you check out Always Consistent. Make sure you check out the Titan Leader app if you haven't downloaded it already. And hopefully we can have you back on for another show because I definitely think this was a great conversation. And as you get your feet in the water even more, I think we can have even better conversation a year from now. I'd love to see how things are going for you.
Well, that sounds good. You keep in contact and we can make it happen, okay? Thank you again.
You have a good one. Thank you so much.
Oh, last but not least, go Illini football.
Exactly.